inner chattering starts. Your mind starts. This is one of the important energy center on which we are supposed to work. This chakra is related to worry and suppression, depression, everything. Anything related to the worry, suppression, depression and psychological disorders, all these things belongs to this chakra. And obesity also. Somehow, strange thing, obesity and depression are very closely related. You can see almost all the obese people are depressed and depressed people are obese. When you feel empty inside, when you are depressed you feel empty inside. When you feel empty, you put the food and fill it. Few people, they pour and fill. Few people, they dump and fill. Drug addiction and food addiction is one and the same. The root cause is one and the same. The emptiness, feeling emptiness or depression is the root cause. You fill it in two ways. Either you pour and fill or you dump and fill. Some one way. Obesity, addiction, depression, all the three are related to this chakra. All the three are related to the same root. Ori is the chakra which makes this, Ori is the emotion which makes this chakra shrink. Ori makes this chakra dull and shrink. Let us analyze what is Ori, brooding over. See, we have two types of talking. One is dialogue, talking with other person. Another one is monologue, talking with yourself. You have two kinds of talking, dialogue and monologue. The monologue is almost like a program. Monologue is nothing but a program. For example, if you observe a little bit, you will be able to understand. Your thought pattern is just a programmed pattern. Major thoughts, majority of your thoughts, they just repeat the same way. For example, early morning, at the time of brushing your teeth, if you are habituated to think some subject, every day you can see the moment you put the brush in your mouth, your mind will be start thinking about that subject. When you drive, if you are habituated to think particular subject, you start driving, you will see immediately you start thinking about the same subject. Am I right? How many of you have experienced? If you look little bit into your mind, you can see it is nothing but a programmed pattern. It's almost a programmed pattern. It moves in the same rut. It moves in the same way. Most of the time, you catch some word and again repeat that same word without moving forward. Your thinking system, instead of flowing like a stream, instead of flowing like a river, it becomes like a pool, whirlpool, and then you are caught. If you are not able to follow anywhere my accent, you can immediately ask me. That's why I am speaking through verbal language and body language, both. You can understand, you can catch anyone. And if you are not able to catch, you can feel free to stop me and ask. If your consciousness, if your thinking is flowing like a river, you can see, river also remains pure, and whomsoever comes near, it makes them also pure. But if it becomes a pool, whirlpool, or a small pond, that also gets dirty, and whomsoever comes near, they also become dirty. Your consciousness, your thoughts, if they are flowing freely. It's like a stream. You create continuously. If you are flowing, you plan about your future. If you are flowing, something happens. That is what I call chronological planning. About every day you decide, you think, tomorrow what I am supposed to do, day after tomorrow what I am supposed to do, the next day what I am supposed to do. When the thought flow is clear, flowing, it's like a river. When you become whirlpool, when you become a small pond, you become dirty. It just, your whole thinking system becomes dirty. Your inner chattering, your monologue, sometimes catches one word and it goes round, 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 round through that same word. You brood over on that same idea. Any idea, if you brood over on that same idea unconsciously, you see there are two kinds of thinking. Consciously brooding over, unconsciously brooding over. Conscious brooding over means contemplation. It becomes planning. Unconscious brooding over is worrying. You don't want to brood over, but you are not able to do anything else, automatically you are attracted. It's like a morning you had a fight with your husband. Your husband has gone to office. You try to forget that fight. You try to go to the kitchen and you try to cook, or you try to go and sit in front of TV, watch some show. But whatever you may do, the mind will be brooding over. The mind will be thinking of the same thing. So even if you want to move away, you cannot move away. You will be thinking of the same thing. That is what I call brooding over. That is what I call worry. Worry is nothing but catching some one word and continuously brooding over on it. I was telling you about the chronological planning and psychological worrying. You should understand these two words. If your consciousness is flowing like a stream, you plan about your future, what you should do tomorrow, what you should do next day, what you should do in 1 month, what is your goal in 6 months, what is your goal in 1 year. You plan for it. Planning is perfectly alright. Planning for your life, planning about your future is perfectly alright, nothing wrong. You have to plan, otherwise you cannot run the life. Planning is your nature. And I tell you one thing, the person who just plans is a creator. Is a creator. A guy who planned this building is a creator of this building. One more thing you need to understand, except God, nobody can create. If you are creating, you experience godliness for those moments in you. If you are creating 2 hours per day without imitating, that is the main thing. Without imitating. If you are really creating 2 hours per day, that 2 hours you experience divinity in you, godliness in you. I have seen the real creators always feel such a deep satisfaction. The scientists, the great poets, the great dancers, the great creators, they feel so satisfied because when they create, they experience godliness in them. Creating, planning is perfectly alright, nothing wrong. But one more thing you do, you don't do just chronological planning. You do the next thing, psychological worrying. After planning, you don't keep quiet. You start thinking. First you plan, after this class, I should take my vehicle, go back to my house and take care of the children. Next day morning, I have to go to office. This is chronological planning, nothing wrong. Next thing starts. On the way, if accident happens, what will I do? If cop gives me ticket, what can I do? And if something would have happened to the children, if they are not feeling well, if they are sick, what can I do? Will something wrong happen? Will my house is safe? Can I go to my office properly? What is happening in the office? Just brooding over, anticipating something, thinking something about the future, creating negative thoughts and continuously holding on to the or brooding over the negative thoughts. Krishnamurti says beautifully, 99% of your worries never come true. Whatever 1% comes true is always good for you. 99% of the worry, your negativities, never comes true. And whatever 1% comes true is always good for you. I tell you one thing, one of the important critical moments of my life before enlightenment, of course after enlightenment the very idea critical moment has disappeared. Before enlightenment, the critical moments, very critical moment of my life, suddenly, of course, what to say, I have read this statement long before. I have never, I can say I have never remembered, or I have just taken it, I have just read it and I have forgotten it. It's not that I have not read, I have read but I have forgotten. But one of the important moments, one of the major decisions I was supposed to take in my life, that time I was of course deeply worried and disturbed. This statement came up in my heart. Suddenly I felt so much of courage with this statement. I thought, let me trust this statement and decide. And just because of that single decision, I am here today as an enlightened person in front of you all. That was a very critical situation to, let me explain the situation. To leave the house and become a Swami is not a big thing, it's very easy. But to leave an ashram and come out is very difficult. Because when you leave the house and become Swami, the whole society respects you. Your ego is given a big boost. When I left and became a Swami, of course there was an objection problem from my immediate family. But from the society there was recognition. So you don't face a big problem. So after some time I was settled in one ashram. And after some time I felt staying in one ashram is a hindrance to my growth. There was no enlightened master to help me. I want to go in search of enlightened master. I want to take the jump of leaving it and going out. And mind always searches for security. It never wants insecurity. Food, stay, so many things, so many security problems. It created enough of trouble. I was thinking, within 2 days, if I am able to decide, I will leave and search for the master. Or I will forget about everything and be here. So in the 2 days, I was continuously contemplating. This thought came up. 99% of your negativities never comes true, and whatever 1% comes true is always good for you. That statement worked like a pillar or stick for me to jump. Of course, that gave me the courage, and today I am here in front of you because of that one statement. Contemplate on this statement.
Just asking. That was given by Jagatguru?
Jagatguru. I told you, no?
Yeah,
I think I referred. I referred as a Krishnamurti. Yeah. In India we call him Krishnamurti. Here what way is popular? What name?
In India only I know it's Jagatguru.
In India he is popular as a Krishnamurti. JK, we call him JK. Anyhow, he is one of the enlightened master of this century who lived and he passed away. Beautiful statement. 99% of our worries never come true. Actually, I made a group of people to do a research. I told them to write down all their thoughts per day, what all the negativities come. Just half an hour I told them to sit and write down. And then I told them to verify in their life how many of these negative thoughts have become reality and how many are just unnecessary. You will be surprised. Really, even though people who has got clear logic, who thinks they are alright, who think that they are very stable guys, they are guys with a lot of stuff, with a lot of mental ability, even their worries, more than 80% is just ordinary worries. Of course, the people who have done a PhD in worrying, that is different. The doctorates in worrying, their life is different. Even the guys who think themselves as a very stable, or persons with stamina, even their mind, 80% of the thoughts are just unnecessary, waste. Your thoughts, your thinking energy, if it is wasted in psychological worrying, the chronological planning will never happen. People come and ask me, Swamiji, I am worried. You see, my colleague, he was also doctor, I was also doctor. We both studied in the same college, but now he is the owner of an hospital. But I am working in the same clinic. What to do? I tell them, you are here because of your worries. Don't worry, don't think, because of that reason you are worrying. Because of your worrying, you are here. People always come and tell me, because I am in the same clinic, I am not made my hospital, I am worrying. I tell them, no, because of your worrying, you are not made the hospital. You have so much of energy, mental power in you, but you don't flow like a stream. If you flow like a stream, you continuously go on creating. You continue to create. Of course, anybody who creates, he will create wealth. Any creation has to create wealth. It's a basic law. But you don't flow like a stream. You start running like a pool. You just become a pool, catching one word, catching one idea, catching one mental setup. It is because of your worrying, your creativity is totally destroyed. It is because of your worrying, your planning capacity is totally destroyed. Any creativity is anti-worry, like anti-venom, anti-worry. Any worry is anti-creativity. Either you can worry or you can plan. There's a beautiful book by Dale Carnegie, Stop Worrying, Start Living. How to stop worrying and start living. How many of you have read that book? You know, next to Bible that book was sold. Next to Bible that book was sold. And he has written one more book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. How many of you have read? Oh. Huh? That's nice. Any of you have read his biography? Any of you have read his life?
What's his name, Swamiji?
Dale Carnegie. Wait, just wait and then note down. Any of you have read his biography? I want to give you a strange but important information about him. His two books, How to Win Friends and Influence People. In that How to Win Friends and Influence People, he writes such beautiful way how to influence your wife. He gives so many tips, so many techniques to influence your wife and to live happily with your wife and husband. And in the book, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, he writes in an elaborate way how to avoid the suicidal tendency, how to destroy the suicidal tendency, how to stop the people committing suicide. The first book is on how to influence the wife, how to live happily with the wife. Second book is about how to stop the suicidal tendency. But strange thing, you will be surprised to know, he himself committed suicide because he was not able to live with his wife. Worry cannot be handled by ordinary mind. If you read the book How to Stop Worrying, you will have one more worry, that how to stop worrying.